And I want to welcome everybody to our webinar, Online Bill Payment, where we will be showing you the website UPayBill and how you can use TeamVNE to let your customers pay their statements, invoices, and even delivery tickets. Before we get started, I'd like to take a couple of polls here to kind of see who is online with us. And our first question here is, are you currently offering on your customers online payment in some way, form, or fashion? I know that some customers are using online bill payment, and that's great. I think that we have a great solution to show you today. If you're not using online bill payment, or even if you are, perhaps we can offer you a much better solution. Take just a minute here to answer our question here. We've got 100% having voted. I am going to close that poll and share it with everybody. And it looks like 82% of the people are currently, let's see, let me make sure I share that. It does not appear to be sharing. Mike, are we sharing the poll? It's not showing up on my audience view.
Yes, I see it.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes, I see it.
Okay, so as you can see, 82% of our customers are currently not providing online bill payments. So that's fantastic. That's virgin territory, as they say. All right, I'm going to hide that and ask you another question. If you're not currently offering online bill payment, why? What's holding you back? Is it the cost? Either the monthly cost or the setup fees are simply too high? Is it perhaps the security that maybe your customers are not comfortable entering their payments online? Is it perhaps too difficult in some way? Either your customers find it too difficult to use, or maybe from what you've seen, it's too difficult for you to load in some way the online bill payment system. So, if you're not doing it, why not? And, if there's another reason, click the other down there. And I'd be real interested to know what the other reason is. I don't think you can choose other there in the poll itself, but maybe if you'll type into the question box, what your other might be. Got 70% of our attendees having voted. Go ahead and give us some kind of an answer there. I'll give you about another minute. If you're not currently, I guess we do have 20% of our people who are doing it, so maybe that's why we're not getting 100%. They're already doing it. So I'm going to close that poll, okay, and then we'll share it with everybody. And what we're finding is that for a lot of people, it's the cost. Looks like 30% of our customers have perhaps looked into doing online bill payment, but the monthly and the setup costs were too high. And I can certainly understand that. One of my customers was showing me what they are doing, and it looks like they were having to pay a fee for every customer who might potentially send them a payment every month. And even if that fee is only 50 cents, is 50 or 65 cents is the number that sticks out in my mind. But if that customer doesn't send you in a fee, you're still having to pay for the possibility that they might have sent a fee. And I thought that was kind of pretty crazy. For 14% of people, it looks like security, customers not being comfortable putting in their payments, and 7% said it was too difficult, and 50% of the people said it was some other reason. So I don't know what that is. If you want to shoot that into the question box, you're welcome to do that. Got one more poll just to get us started here. So question here is, if you offered an easy way to pay online, how many of your customers would? Okay, I know that's that's just going to be a guess, But if you offered an easy way for your customers to pay online, what percentage of them do you think would pay online? 25% or more? It looks like I've got 10% or more, 5% or more, 1% or more, that would be like 1 to 4%, or none. Even if you offered them an easy way to pay, they probably wouldn't do it anyway. Okay? All right, we got 95% of the people voting. I'll give you just another few seconds here. Okay, everybody's voted. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to close the poll, and then we'll share that with everybody. And what we find is that, based on what you think, if you offered your customers an easy way to pay, 22% of our attendees said 25% or more people would pay online. That's fantastic. That is a huge percentage. Based on our target demographic being kind of for the most part older people, I'm really surprised at that. I was thinking more in the second line, and that is our biggest number. 40% of the people say 10% or more of their customers, that would be 10 to 25%, somewhere in that range, would pay online. That's fantastic. Still number, I think. 17% said 5% or more, so that would be 5 to 10%, and then 22% said 1 to 4%. So nobody said none, so at least some people are paying online, so that's fantastic. Well, let's go from there to showing you what the product that we have developed here. I'm going to hide that poll, and I'm going to start showing you my screen. Give it just a second to refresh there. Okay. This is where the process starts. Okay. First of all, I'm going to show you the process, and then I'm going to kind of peel back the curtain and show you how it all works, because I want you to see how simple it is to use. Because in kind of thinking about online bill payment and talking to our customers, the conclusion that we came to is if it is not just super simple, our demographic, our customer population is just not going to do it. Okay? And so here's the concept that we came up with. Very similar to what your customers are seeing today. They get a statement in the mail. Okay? They turn around, they get out their checkbook, they write out a check, they lick a stamp, address an envelope, and they send that check back to you. Okay? We wanted to kind of keep a similar flow so that the customers are still very familiar with it, and also just to kind of eliminate some steps within that process. So if you are participating in our online bill payment, this is what your statements are going to look like, or potentially can look like today. You'll note you of course be familiar with our statement, but one thing that you'll notice is down at the bottom in the lower left hand corner you get kind of that square box, and I'm going to maximize that so we can 100% so we can see it just a little bit better here. Okay, down at the bottom left hand corner it has what's called a QR code. Okay, and I'll explain that to you in just a moment, but then it says if you would like to pay your bill online, scan the QR code or go to https://upaybill.com/ and then a number 3850216. Okay, and that basically begins the process of online bill payment. The thought here is the customer will still continue to get their statement in the mail, and when I say statement, I mean your statement, their invoice. We've even got this attached to delivery tickets now. So this will be added at the bottom. If you want to pay your bill online, just go to https://upaybill.com and type in that number. Okay. Now, what that does, and I'm going to oops. It's trying to go to that link because mine is, of course, a PDF. But I'm going to go to the website here. And this is open that up just a little bit. Okay, this is UPayBill.com. When they type in UPayBill.com, in any way, this is what they're going to see. Okay, and the first question it asks is, what's your payment number? Okay, as we were looking at our statement, that payment number is right here, right on the bill. Okay, and they put that number in, and then their account number. And again, the account number is on the statement. It says, statement, invoice, and delivery ticket. Right here is our account number, in this case 9. Okay, so everything that the customer needs is right there on the statement, the invoice, or the delivery ticket. Okay, for them to to use that. Now I'm going to kind of short circuit, so I don't have to key in, but that once they enter that payment number and that account number, it's all the information they need. If they have trouble finding it, you can click on the little help button and it'll say, hey, this payment number is included as a part of your URL. You were asked to type or scan. It looks similar to upaybill.com question mark 12345. 12345 is the payment number. Or if you want to know about the account number is printed at the top of your statement, your invoice, or your delivery ticket. Okay? And so once they enter those two numbers, first of all, that is kind of the security, okay? Because they can't just enter a random number. In other words, if I get a statement and say, hey, I want to know what my neighbor is paying, I want to change that 6 to a 7, well, you also have to know that account number. If you don't, when you click next, it's going to pop up and say, hey, payment or account number is not found. It doesn't know which one is wrong, but one of those things is wrong. So it's not going to let you go any further. So that has the payment number and the account number has to match up, in our system. But the next question the customer is asked is, do you want to pay by credit card or by check? Now, this is partly set up by your account with OpenEdge. Okay, in other words, if you want to accept credit cards only, then just sign up for a credit card account. If you want to accept checks only, then you can just sign up for a check account. But my thought is, I want to be able to accept payments from my customers however they want to pay me. Okay, and so I'm going to accept both credit cards and checks. And we'll see, I'll show you an example of both of those here in just a second. But the first thing I'm going to do is click Next. And then what it's going to do is it's going to go to the UPayBill website. And you're going to basically see the credit card information. Now you'll notice how this is a very small web page, and we did that on purpose so that basically when you scan the QR code, the customer can actually do this using their phone. iPhone, Android, it doesn't matter. You scan that QR code, and basically the previous screen will pop up automatically, and so you don't even have to key anything in. And so it makes it very, very simple to do that. But once you have put in your payment and account number, now we're entering the credit card information. Now, this is a test account, so I'm not giving any information away here. You can't steal the credit card number here because this is a bogus credit card number anyway. But basically, the customer will put in their a credit card type. Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express. Those are the things that I have chosen to accept. Again, your account may be set up differently. You may accept more things. Okay? You may not accept American Express. This is all based again on your account. Okay? And then I've asked it to put in the security code. I'm just going to type in 123 and the amount. Okay? Now that amount comes up automatically based on the document that it was created from. For example, if this document was created from a statement where the patient owed $4, and so the amount comes up automatically. You'll also notice my patient, my patient here, my customer, gets some information so that they can be assured that this is their account, and it's just not a random, give me your credit card information and hopefully we'll get it to the right person. But it will have our, meaning your name and address up here as the provider, in this case Acme DME, is my company name, okay, and my address there is 123 Sample Street, New York, New York, etc., and my phone number. The account number is the customer's account number with me, and this is a statement, and the statement said that the patient owed $4, okay, the patient's name being John Doe, okay. So by showing them that information, it's very clear, who it is, what their account number is. The statement amount matches the statement that you sent them in the mail. They should feel very comfortable that they're getting the right customer's account listed there. The other thing that you'll notice right offhand, well, I'm going to talk about security here in just a minute. I kind of want to show you the process first. Then after they put in their credit card information, they can click Submit, and that basically goes out to OpenEdge and confirms their information, and they get an online payment receipt. Okay, again, your company name and address, in this case Acme DME, the date, the time, there is a transaction number which uniquely identifies them, a status, in this case we were approved, and we got the confirmation number or the approval number. Again, we're showing them their account number, their credit card number that they used to pay with, everything blacked out, of course, except for the last 4 digits, and the amount. Thank you for your payment. Would you like a receipt? If you would like to print, then you just click Print. Okay, give it just a second, and these are my printers, and I click Print, and off it goes to print. If you would like an emailed receipt, then you can do that too by simply typing in their email address. Mine is rlong@teamdme.com, and click Email, and off that goes, and I get an email receipt. Okay, and that's it. Now, what you don't see is the customer is not having to set up an account, they're not having to create a profile, they're not having to put in a username and password, they're not having to do any of that stuff. All they've got to do is they have to have the statement in front of them, statement, invoice, or delivery ticket, which shows the payment number and the account number, and then their payment information. And they're done, and they have a receipt. I will pop up my email right quick. I didn't think about that, just to show you the receipt that we just got. Okay, we do have a question from Josh, and the question is, will the payment amount allow the patient to pay more than they owe? Will the amount on the screen show the current amount or the amount at the last statement date? That's a great question, Josh. Hold on just a second. Let me show you the receipt here. See if I can. Okay, I do have to say I do want to accept that as a safe sender. But you can see this is my payment receipt. You've got the logo up here at the top. You've got the customer, that means you, I guess I should say my customers, DME company, okay, so they know who the payment is from, and then you've got the card number, account number, da-da-da. So this gives the customer, a very comfortable feeling that, they paid their bill and you have accepted their payment, and, if there's ever a question, they can go back and see that their bill has been paid. Okay. All right. Now, Josh's question is, let me go ahead and do this again. Okay. And his question is, this $4 amount that we see listed there, where is that coming from? Okay. And that is coming from the statement that was printed. And that's very important to think about, because we wanted the customer to be very comfortable, very confident that the statement that they were receiving in the mail was in fact what they were paying their bill with, okay, or paying their bill on. And so when you print a statement, you're sending information to Team DME or to UPayBill.com. UPayBill.com is our company. We created it so that we could provide this service to our DME customers, and then you could provide online bill payment to your customers, because they don't know who Team DME is, and they shouldn't have to know. But basically, you can, in some way, let them know that you're partnering with UPayBill.com to let them pay their bill easily online. Okay, so that $4 is tied to the printing of a statement. So if you printed out a statement and you put a stamp on it and shoot it out in the mail, and they get more products a week later, and now they don't owe $4, but they owe $104, let's say. Well, when the customer uses that statement and puts in that payment number and that account number, they will see, you need to pay $4. So it's not the current balance of the customer's account, it is the balance of the statement. Now the customer can still change that amount. Okay. In other words, we deliberately chose to open that up so that the customer could change it. Now you can choose in your account with OpenEdge not to do that. In other words, you can say total amount $4 and they have no opportunity to change it. Okay. But I think that most people will want the customer to have the option, to make a payment. For example, if my customer owes $1,000 and he or she says, hey, I can't pay $1,000, but I can pay $250. As the company, I'll accept your $250 because I'd much rather you pay me something rather than nothing. Okay, so my thought is give the patient or the patient the opportunity to change that amount. And Josh's question is, could the patient pay over that amount? And I think they certainly could. We'll do that. Let's say $20 here. And we'll put in a MasterCard again, and there's our MasterCard number, 12 of 2015, 123, and submit. And again, I'm operating in my test account, so this is not really going anywhere. It's not hitting anybody's credit card. So you can see here that the customer is allowed to overpay their account. Honestly, I hadn't even thought about limiting that. You can limit them if you want. I know through OpenEdge you can say, I don't want the customer to be able to change that dollar amount. Okay, and that will stop that, if you want to. But maybe if the customer knows, okay, I got a statement for $4, but I just went in yesterday and I got $16 more worth of stuff, so I'm just going to go ahead and pay it all. They can do that as well. Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments here? Please use the question area, and we'll address them as we go through. All right. I've shown you the. I haven't shown you the printed receipt, Mike. If you don't mind grabbing that for me and pull that in. Let me show you the same thing with the online bill payment. Okay. Let me just back up to our entering of the information to begin with. Okay. Now instead of choosing credit card, I'm going to choose check. Okay. It's just slightly different. You click next. And as you can see, here is our printed copy of the UPayBill. Basically, it looks very similar to the online version. If I can center it in the window there. Very simple, very straightforward for the customer to be using. Okay. Sorry about that. Wanting to show me just the edge there. Okay. So the entering of a check looks just slightly different. Okay. First of all, the same information up here, the patient's John Doe, your name and address information, their account number with you, the statement amount, again $4. Okay. It asks them for their routing number, their checking account number, and then the name on the account, John Doe. Okay. The amount, they can again change if they want, and then there is a authorization. By clicking submit, you authorize a single debit entry to your deposit account listed above. And so you click that, and then you click submit. Okay. Now I have a note down here because just like every other, banking institution, if I have to do a return check, in other words, if your check is no good, the bank's going to charge me, and so I'm going to turn around and charge you. So there's a note down there: return checks are subject to a $30 processing fee. All right, so click submit. You'll also notice that down here at the very bottom we have step 1, step 2. I'll show you that in just a second. It just bleeped off. I'm going to put in my teamdme.com, click email, and then there's my payment receipt. That's all there is to putting in a check. Okay, but you'll notice down here at the bottom, step 1 of 2, which is basically putting in the payment number and the account number. Step 2 of 2 is your payment information, whether it's the credit card or the check, and then at that point you're done. Okay, and so this is as simple as I possibly can think of to make it. So if you can think of a way to make it simpler, I would love to hear about it. Okay? Now, let's see. We've got a few questions here, and I'm going to try to address them. But it says, how will team handle overpayments? Brandon. Brandon, in the exact same way that you handle overpayments if the customer writes you a check. I don't know whether that is issuing a credit to their account, or whether you are going to refund the money on an account. You might be asking a little bit about how we apply the payments automatically to the customer's account. I'm not quite ready to answer that question yet, but that might be more your question. Let me ask another one. Elaine is asking, how do you know the patient's amount due? Do we need to be on the cloud? Okay. Elaine, originally when we developed this, we thought that our customers would need to be on the cloud. But as we sat down, we figured out a way so that we can offer this service to everybody. So whether you are hosting your TeamDME or whether you're allowing us to host it on the cloud, it doesn't matter. Okay, and the way it works, and I'll just explain it to you, this way. But basically, in TeamDME, let me minimize this. In TeamDME, when you go to print statements, okay, if you have the online bill payment portal set active, okay, when you print statements, you remember you get the question at the end. And this is my live system because it's hard to set up a test system for this because you're actually working directly with credit cards. And so this is my live system. But as you print statements, at the end, it's going to ask you a question. Did the statements print correctly? Okay. And here we go. And what it is doing at this point, let me just let it pop up here, but what it is doing is actually talking with our TeamDME web services. Okay, just like you do web services to upload your claims, to download your payment files, to download your reports. It is talking to the TeamDME web services at that time, and it is telling us, okay, each time you send a customer statement, it is giving us the information. Here's the customer's name, here's how much they owe, and here's how I'm going to allow them to pay. I'm sorry. So if I say statements were printed correctly, yes, then what that means is that on every statement, it's got that little QR code and the payment number down at the bottom. That payment number is unique to every statement that you print. Okay? So when the customer then puts in that payment number, we know exactly how much the statement printed for, and that's what we display to the customer. Okay? So really, there is no additional work on your part. Just in the same way that you print statements, it just happens automatically. Okay? And so when you say statements printed correctly, it's done. Okay? Now, the actual way that works is, in your location, when you sign up with OpenEdge to do credit cards, they will come into your system, or you will do this, and put in the merchant ID that they give you. And then if you want to do credit cards, a terminal ID and a reg key, or if you want to do checks, a terminal ID and a reg key, and then you simply click Payment Portal, yes or no. Okay? I can't click it because I don't have the correct information in there. But basically, that's it. By clicking that button, Payment Portal, that basically tells the system, okay, when we print statements and invoices and delivery tickets, we want to see the online payment portal printed on the document as well. Okay? And so, you don't have to do anything other than click the button, yes, I want to use the online payment portal. And so, it makes it very simple to set up and use. Okay? Okay, let me answer some questions here as we're going through. I don't want to get too far off, but is there an option to set up automatic payments or recurring payments each month? Okay, Josh, thank you for the question, but this is really not designed for recurring payments. I think that you can do that through OpenEdge. You can set up, okay, here's my customer and here's the credit card, and here's how much will need to be taken out. Darren, if you'd like to unmute yourself, if you know the answer to that question, please feel free to answer it. But I think that you can do recurring payments through OpenEdge. Okay, but that's not a part of what I'm showing and demonstrating today. Kathy's asking if the patient transposes the credit card information. Let me go back to the online bill pay. Okay, and her question is credit cards. So let's look at that. If the patient transposes credit card numbers or checking account information, is it still accepted? Absolutely not. Okay, because what is happening is just like you going into Walmart. If you gave them a credit card that had expired, or a credit card that you had never activated, or in some way had was fraudulent, Walmart wouldn't accept it. What is happening here, and this is very important to understand, you're seeing the information here, and it looks like it's being presented by UPayBill.com, but really what is happening here, let me just put this in, everything from here to here is Team DME or UPayBill.com. In other words, who the patient is, printing the information, but everything from here to here, okay, is directly to OpenEdge, the credit card company. So Team DME or UPayBill, we never see your customer's credit card numbers. We never see the expiration dates. There is no way, and this is secured directly to them, so there's no way that we can intercept this information, nor do we want to be involved in it, because there is a PCI compliance that basically says if you handle credit cards, you have to be certified. I think it's every year, if I'm not mistaken. I think we've all heard about, Target, which is big down here, has just had a lot of their credit cards hacked, quote unquote, and they're in the middle of lawsuits and customers suing them over the exposing of that information. I don't want to be involved in anything like that, and so basically I'm connecting your customer directly to the credit card company. Okay, and so you are not involved. I am not involved. If there's any problem with the security of the credit card, it is the credit card company who's responsible for that. So that is a very important distinction. I don't want to have anything to do with customers' credit cards information. And so Kathy, to answer your question, this is a real-time authorization. And so, it's going directly to the credit card company, and they are authorizing it. So if the patient transposes the card number, and instead of, in this example, instead of 6781, okay, they typed in 6718, it would not be accepted. If they put in the wrong expiration date or they put in the wrong security code, okay, would not be accepted. It's just exactly like going down to Walmart and presenting your credit card there as well. Okay. Chris is asking if we currently use AR Allegiance to send our statements and work our customers' accounts. Would this work? I've not asked that question, Chris. I think we would have to work with AR Allegiance to put the put the payment number on each of those customers' accounts so that it could. But we would have to talk with them. Okay. And Cynthia is asking, will health savings account cards also process? That is a fantastic question because I personally love my HSA account when I'm paying medical bills, and I would imagine a lot of your customers do as well. Again, what is happening is we are connecting you directly to the credit card processor, okay, OpenEdge. And so anything that they are the ones who are providing the authorization, not UPayBill/TeamDME. And so anything that they can accept, we can accept in this combination here. Darren, I'm going to unmute you, and maybe if you have a comment to add to that.
Yes, there's a variety of different cards that you'll notice out there. There's tons of different cards, anything from American Express to Discover. But yes, these health savings cards, we process a large variety of these cards. Now, which one specifically, I don't know, but there's not many cards that we don't process for.
Yeah, and generally, even for example, my health savings card is a Visa, and so I would think that any place that accepts Visa would, but I know that's not quite the case. But
most of these cards, if they have a Visa, MasterCard logo on the front, whether it's a debit, health savings card, that's the form of card, and that would be accepted, yes. Okay,
fantastic. All right, moving right along. I do want to point out the security, okay? You'll notice here that we've got this. I'm using Internet Explorer for our example here, but you'll notice that, that we have a totally green bar up here. That's because we're using the highest level of security to connect it for UPayBill.com. So connecting your customer to UPayBill.com, and it is, includes the highest level of encryption. I don't say the highest level of encryption, but it includes what is generally accepted to be the highest level of encryption, 2048, which is probably exactly like your bank does as well, okay? And what you see here with the green bar is the verification that, in our case, Komodo has researched TeamDME and UPayBill.com and made sure that it is a real company, that it is, has an office, and they made sure that kind of done a background check on me personally to make sure that this is not a fraudulent enterprise, okay? And so very much like your bank, you don't get the green bar unless you go through all of those steps and prove yourself, in other words. So that's one thing. The other thing is the SSL certificate, I think I mentioned, is 224-bit encryption, and everything about UPayBill is encrypted from beginning to end. So it shouldn't be possible for anybody to even intercept the information going between your customer and the credit card information. So again, we're trying to make the customer very comfortable that they can put their payment information in and they won't become the victim of identity theft, for example. All right, let's take a look at an invoice. That was a statement. Now let's take a look at an invoice and let's kind of see how that works as well. Some of our customers send statements out, and some send invoices out, and some send both. It doesn't matter. You'll see in the same way down at the lower left-hand corner. I'm going to make it 100% here, and you'll see, would you like to pay your bill online? Go to upaybill.com, da-da-da. Okay, now, again, the customer may have, 10 different invoices that they get from you, okay? Each invoice will have a unique payment number, okay? And therefore, it will have a unique dollar amount to pay as well. So if they get one invoice today and then 2 weeks from now they get another invoice and they want to pay on that, then as they put in their payment number, it will only show, in this example, $150, okay? Even if something different has happened to their account since then, okay? It's not connected to their account. It's connected, if you think of it this way, to that piece of paper. If that piece of paper says 150, that's what's going to show up in upaybill.com. Okay? If their statement says, in our example, $4, then even if they make a payment and then they go to quote unquote pay online later, then it's still going to show the $4. Okay? So it is attached to the, in essence, the same thing as the paper. And we did that on purpose because we wanted them to feel comfortable that what they are paying represents what they see in front of them. Okay? And so basically that's how invoices work as well. Okay? We've also got delivery tickets set up for this. Let me just pop that up. Okay? That should be very familiar to you as a delivery ticket. Okay? Let's look down at the bottom here. Okay? You'd like to pay your bill online. Now again, the delivery ticket's a little bit different. With the statement and with the invoice, they are paying their patient responsibility part. Well, I guess I said it's different. It's really the same because on the delivery ticket, we also try to figure out what the patient's responsibility is there as well. Okay, and so we say estimated due, in this case $32.08. Well, if you would like to pay that bill, if you go to upaybill.com and type in that number, then you're going to see $32.08. Now, if later we determine that they owe more because they've not met their deductible for 2015, for example, they may owe more money, but the upaybill.com will never change because, again, we're trying to connect that document, that piece of paper, to what they see online. Okay? All right, now the other thing that this kind of opens you up to is, if you have your delivery person go out, they may, and the customer may want to, quote unquote, to pay immediately. Well, your delivery person can scan that QR code that you see listed there, and on their phone can, help the customer put in their credit card number, their expiration date, and that CVV code, and let the customer pay right there while they are with the delivery person. Okay, that is one option. I think that some customers are going, some of my customers are going to take advantage of that. The other option that you have that Darren will, that Darren's company OpenEdge has available is, I'll say it's a square-like device. Okay, and Darren, I'm going to unmute you if you want to jump in here. But basically, on their phone, iPhone or Android, it's something that kind of plugs into at the top, and you can scan credit cards as well. Now that's a little bit different. If you go to upaybill.com, you're not scanning the credit card. Okay, you're using an online payment form to enter the information. But with this little doohickey, sorry, it's the only word I know that describes it, that plugs into your phone. It's called a bullet or an IT shuttle, and it plugs into the phone and basically allows you to scan the credit card. And there's a app that you can download from OpenEdge, which allows your delivery people to accept payments as they're going out to the customers' homes. Now, the difference is, probably that scanned credit card might be a little bit less expensive because you have the physical card in hand, and so that might be something that you want to do as well. Okay. All right. So that takes care of statements, invoices, and delivery tickets. Do we have any questions about that? Okay. Because the next question from Cynthia is, how will we know we received payments? Is there a daily report, etc.? And guess what, Cynthia? That is the next thing that we're going to look at. Okay. This, with OpenEdge, you have a merchant portal, which is basically a website which you will log into, which you can log into periodically and see your transactions. I'm going to make this big so that everybody can look at it. But this is an example of what you're going to see. In other words, I ran this from 1/1 to 1/30. Now this is my test account, and so you're going to see a lot of odd charges in here. But basically, this is similar to what you might see as well. Okay, CC, credit card sale, and if you kind of go down to the bottom, I want to show you. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the right-hand side. I wanted to show you, to begin with. Again, their account number, their credit card number is never shown in full. The only thing you get to see is the last 4 digits. So if the customer calls and says, hey, I made a payment and this is the credit card I used, you can go in and you can see exactly what happened. Because if they put in their credit card information, but they don't click submit, then, it didn't process on their account, okay, and it didn't process to you as well, because at the end of the day, these are automatically batched and added to your bank account. Okay, but if they never clicked submit, then you're not going to see it. They're not going to see it on their credit card statement at the end of the month, and you're not going to see it in your bank account. So it shouldn't show up. But if they call and say, hey, I thought I paid this, 2 days ago, you can go back in and you can see all of the transactions and the account numbers that are listed. And the other thing you can ask is, did you get a receipt? Because if they get the email receipt, okay, either printed or in email, then you can see very quickly whether that transaction was approved or denied. Okay, and so you can hopefully very easily let the customers know that no, your card was declined, and so you still owe us the money. It's basically what's going on there. But the other thing that I want you to see is this gives you one option as far as how to enter the payments. Okay, if you want to enter your payments manually, you can come over here and first of all, I jumped over that, but first of all, bear with me a second so I can find it here. There we go. The invoice number is actually the payment number that came out on the statement. So when they put in a transaction, we can go back to the exact statement that they paid based on. And if you print 3 different statements, in other words, you print a bunch of statements and, oh, these are not right, and so you reprint another set of statements, these are not right, and then you reprint another batch of statements, okay, these are right, these are the ones I'm going to send. You can actually see all 3 of those, or we can see all 3 of those. And we can actually see which statement, maybe they got accidentally mailed the batch 1, which was wrong. Okay, we can see that based on this, INV number, invoice number. This is actually the payment number in the system. The other thing that we can see is we actually see their account number with us. Okay, for example, here's the patient's or the customer's name, Michael Wililko. Okay. His account number with us is 647. So if I were to go in and put in a payment of $10 in this example that he paid 1/12/2015, I'd go to the account number 647 and Michael Wililko. The other thing that I know is that this is a statement. Okay, and he paid based on a statement. The reason that I know that is because if it were an delivery ticket or an invoice, you would see the delivery ticket order number or the invoice number over here under user defined 3. So you can kind of drill in on exactly how you need to, how you can put those payments in manually as well. Okay, and so you can see that this is the integration, or this is the cooperation between OpenEdge and TeamDME, because as that payment is entered, you get to see it here right away. Okay, this is an example of the credit card information. If we go to X checks submissions, these are our checks. Okay, I figured that because it had been a few minutes till I had logged in, so I'm going to have to log in again. Bear with me just a second. There we go. And I go to reports. And the other thing you can, this is you saw the button for virtual terminal. If a customer calls in and wants to process a credit card over the phone, you can do it there. If they need a refund, or, what I use this for is if I need to void a credit card transaction, I can do it there. So I'm going to go to, we're in reports, and I'm going to go to X check submissions, which are the checks that patients may have processed. You can see where I'm going to just show 1/1 to 131. It just comes up automatically that way. It's kind of convenient. And those are all of my checks that I have to process. And so you can see the same information, whether it's credit card information or check information. Okay, and so that's the merchant portal that's being provided by OpenEdge. Okay, now let me answer a couple other questions here. So Cynthia, to answer your question one, if you log into your merchant portal, you'll be able to see that you've gotten payments. I think there is a report that you saw the report we could print out by day if you wanted to do that. If you are processing your payments automatically, it makes it even easier, and I'll show you that in just a second. Brandon's asking, is the credit card reader transmission encrypted? Okay, and I think what he is referring to is not UPayBill.com, but I think what he's referring to is the bullet or the IT shuttle that we talked about. Now, Darren, I know for a fact that the bullet, which is made by Magtech, which also makes our iPad that we promote with the point-of-sale package, it is completely encrypted. Okay, and what that means is that basically once the credit card is swiped, there is nowhere that it goes that it's not encrypted. In other words, one of the fraudulent things, in fact, my wife had this to be a problem. She went to wash the car in one of these car washes and swiped her credit card, and what we think happened, what the police think happened, is basically somebody had a kind of an inference reader behind that, and got her credit card number and the swipe as a result of her using the car wash. Well, if you have the iPad on your cash register desk and somebody swipes a credit card, or if you have this bullet that we're talking about that you can add to your delivery technician's phone, that information is encrypted, okay, as soon as it's swiped. Okay, so even if a bad guy were to intercept that information, they couldn't do anything with it because it's only valuable to OpenEdge, because they're the only ones who have the code to be able to unencrypt that information and make anything useful out of it. So even if somebody were to unplug your the iPad, what's called this is not an Apple iPad, but it's a credit card terminal that's called an iPad. Terrible name because it confuses people, but even if they were to unplug that and plug in their own kind of secret, send me the credit card information, doohickey on there, it wouldn't do them any good, because what is sent through the wire, and in this case through the internet, is encrypted, and OpenEdge is the only one who can unencrypt it, OpenEdge being the credit card processor. So basically, you are protected, and more importantly, your customer is protected, from credit card theft and identity theft. I'm not saying it's impossible, because but it certainly seems like it is, much less likely than under any other circumstances. So, Darren, I'll let you jump in if you have anything to add to that.
Well, I'll go into detail here in just a few minutes, but all of our hardware is encrypted for that very reason, is that security is number one when we're dealing with credit card processing. Make sure the customer's information is secure and safe. I'll talk about that a little more in detail. Also, I'll mention where the future of our swipe credit cards. Every credit card that we use now in the United States has a little mag stripe on the back where they swipe it. I'll go into about 30 seconds of detail here in just a few minutes of what they call chip and pin, which is going to be a mandate that's going to occur this year, and I'll explain what the chip feature means, and the United States is going to go to that because of fraud and the security that has lapsed. And I'll go into more detail here in just a minute on that.
Okay, fantastic. All right, now we have talked about how you can look at your account on the merchant portal and see the transactions, and you can actually see them as they're transpiring, because the first tab that we looked at was transactions that are open, and open means basically they have not posted for the day. So your daily business will be under transactions open, and then your history will be what has been batched and posted at the end of the day. So if you need to see what happened last week or last month, you can do that as well. Okay. But the other thing that we can do, everything I've shown you so far, it is I will call free. Okay, because all you need, and I'll go into this a little bit more detail, but all you need is a credit card account, a merchant account with OpenEdge, and click the button, I want to use the online payment portal, and everything works. Okay, if the only thing that that there might be a fee to is if you want to automatically download the payments, just like there is a fee for downloading Medicare. Medicare is free, but if you want to download Medicaid or Blue Cross Blue Shield or other payments, there's, I think it's a nickel claim line. So this works very similar to that. When you go into your payment list, it says, hey, there's an electronic remittance file. Do you want to import it? Okay. Yes. All right. Okay. Your payer is self. Now, for patient payments, all of the payers are going to show up as self. Okay. If I click import and then click OK, then it's automatically going to pull into my payment list. I'm not going to show it up here. Okay. What should show up here is a little report showing you who the patient was and how much they paid, and the invoices to which we applied the payment. Okay. All right. And but for some reason this one didn't import. This is my live system, and so I've already imported all these payments. And I asked John to set one up to show you how that process worked. And my guess is it saw somehow that, hey, we've already imported this payment and didn't do it. But it works exactly like, with the exception of popping up that little report to show you what's going to import. It works exactly like importing Medicare payments, importing Medicaid payments, importing Blue Cross Blue Shield payments. This is just simply importing patient payments. So that's the difference. Okay. Now, I think there was a question. If I remember correctly, Brandon asked, how will TeamDB handle overpayments? Let me explain how the system is going to automatically apply those payments if you choose to do this. Okay, you don't have to do this at all. You can use the payment portal and put the payments in yourself if you want to, and all free. what happens if you choose to do the automatic payments is if the patient is paying on an invoice, it will apply the payment directly to that invoice and that invoice only. If the patient is paying on a delivery ticket, then it will figure out what invoices were created from that delivery ticket, and it will only apply payments to those invoices that were created from that delivery ticket. Okay, we're trying to apply the payments to where they came from. Okay, if the patient is paying on a statement, okay, then basically we're going to apply the payments to open balances, similar to what the statement would have shown. Okay, and so basically we're going to apply the payments to the oldest invoices first, and just walk down the list of the patient responsibility, similar to what the statement shows, so that we should be applying to what the statement, to one for one. What the statement showed is what we're applying the payments to. Okay. Now, if there is money left over on any of those cases, okay, after we have done that process, it will create a credit balance on the customer's account, and basically, it will just be open. So that hopefully answers Brandon's question of how team handles overpayments. I think that's the question that he was asking. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Let's ask and answer a couple questions here. First of all, what are the minimum requirements? Okay. In order to process credit cards and checks, you have to have our point of sale module. Okay. Most of you, I think, on this webinar already have that, and so I think it will be a no-brainer. But that is the one requirement. You have to have the point of sale module. Okay. That's kind of like if you wanted to do a cash register at your front desk. That's point of sale. Well, that's accepting credit cards, and this is an offshoot. This is a function of that. But other than that, as far as we're concerned, there you have to have an OpenEdge account. You have to be signed up with OpenEdge, but that's all you have to have. Now, we always get questions. Well, will this work with my current credit card processor? Okay, and unfortunately, no. Pretty much Team DME can work with any computer you want to go out and buy. We can work with Toshiba, Microsoft doesn't make computers, but Toshiba, IBM, Dell. We can work with all those computers because there's a standard. Okay, they are all PC compatible. Okay, unfortunately, in the credit card industry, there's no such thing as a compatible API that we can write to. We have to basically write to we have to pick somebody and write to their format. And so that's what we've done with OpenEdge. OpenEdge, accelerated payment, XCharge, those are all similar names of effectively the same company. So unfortunately, you will need an OpenEdge merchant account to be able to do this. Now, if you want to continue to use your current processor with your terminal that sits on your cash register, that's fine. You could have your OpenEdge account processing your online payments and your other credit card processing, whatever you would like to do. So at that point, free from Team DME, you do have to have an OpenEdge account, and right now they're offering a $100 Amazon gift card, and I'm stealing Darren's fire. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Darren and let him talk just a little bit about OpenEdge and how the process of applying would work, and etc. So take it away, Darren.
Great. It's nice to be on here and to be with Rick and Team DME. Let me explain a little bit about what OpenEdge and the partnership with Team DME is. We talk a little bit about integration, what integration is. Well, Team DME went out and created a software. OpenEdge is a credit card processor, and we have teamed up with Rick and Team DME to help them process credit cards. Now, one thing that you'll find that's different from OpenEdge than some credit card processing companies is we work with integrated partners. We see the value in what Rick and his company is doing, and so we partner with them or integrate with them to process credit cards. We don't go down to the gas station. As a partner manager here, I don't go down to the gas station and ask the Bob's tire shop to just process credit cards with me. However, if Rick owned a tire software, I would go to the software developer. That's what makes us a little bit different, is we deal with software developers and help them with integrations. Many of you on the phone today might be receptionists, office managers, business owners. Some of you may work in an office. Some of you may be out in the field, maybe doing home visits, different job descriptions. But for those that are in the credit card processing, who sit and process credit cards, this is great information for you today that I'm able to share with you, because the processing that we do with credit cards is critical to make it easy, convenient, and simplify your process as you sit behind the desk, or to simplify it for your merchants or your customers that come in and are trying to make a payment. Now, I know some of you have asked some questions. I've made some notes here. I'll get towards them at the bottom of my little description here, and then please we'll discuss those. But for some of you, I don't know specifically what your business is or what you do, but question for you is, are some of you still using those little terminals to process your credit cards and get those transactions? Do some of you still print out credit card receipts and then print out the invoice and staple those together? If you're a receptionist or an office manager, you kind of know what I'm talking about if that's your process. Are you having to match up transactions between the terminal and the software that you're using, or the terminal and Team DME software at the end of the day? Now, some of this is really time consuming for a lot of you if that is your job description or what you do. As a business owner, you may not be doing those transactions, but somebody in the front office or at the front desk or in a back room may be doing this paperwork, and we're going to try and simplify it if we can for you. So to those of you that are out there that are receptionists, that work at the front desk and you're using those standalone terminals, we're trying to find a way to make it more convenient for your customers to get in and out of that door as quickly as possible. Even if you're doing a home visit, if you're visiting them and you want to make an easy transaction, we talked a little bit about the shuttles, whether you're using an Android device or an iPhone. There's different technologies that make it more convenient for you. Receptionist, this is going to save you a lot of accounting time trying to match up descriptions and pay. If you're the office managers, we want to eliminate dual entries. It's easy to do that. You'll swipe the credit card, you'll wait, you'll type in the number, and then all of a sudden nothing's happening. You swipe it and you type it in again. Now we have dual entries. Well, now it's going to take us a little bit of time to reconcile or eliminate that error, which we want to make sure that it's convenient for your customer. We want to save time at the point of sale at that standalone to make your line shorter. We're also with the software that Rick has, and with partnering with the integration, we want to remove the clutter from your desk. We want to have this software available right there at your desk and not have 3 or 4 different terminals, or even one terminal that sits and maybe clutters up your desk. It makes it faster and convenient for your customers to get in and out. The reconciliation is critical. It's very important that you're able to review, and Rick has discussed how you're able to see these statements at the end of the day to make sure that that statement has gone through. Did it process? Did it not process? The idea is to make sure that you're able to get that information as fast as you can. We feel that right now that Rick has a software, and this UPayBill makes it very convenient for you to be able to process outside of the office. Now, I think you did a poll there at the very beginning, and if I remember the numbers, was it 82% do not do or allow online transactions.
Correct.
This is going to make it easier for your customers to be able to have the convenience to pay at home, to pay by a iPhone instead of having to come in and use that standalone there in the office. So those are some things that to keep in consideration when you're trying to decide how to make it more convenient. This will definitely improve your workflow. It'll make things a lot faster for the bookkeepers and the receptionist owners, business owners. If you're trying to go back and recap what happened throughout the day or throughout the week, these statements are going to simplify the numbers for you so you can see what was processed, what wasn't processed. We are a trusted business owner. OpenEdge is the credit card processor. We do it from the point of transaction to doing the deposit in your bank. We do not use third parties to do that. We are the processing company. OpenEdge is owned by GlobalPay, and GlobalPay is one of the top 5 or top 4 in the world in credit card processing. So we've been around a long time in the credit card industry. Our names have changed because of some mergers that we've done to partners with other companies, but we have a great solution to what you're trying to accomplish with credit cards. One thing that we want to make sure that with the integration is that you don't have to enter transaction information twice. You should be able to just enter it one time without error. You won't need a physical terminal. You're using Rick's software. It's integrated with ours, online pay, so you actually don't need a terminal. Many of you do have a standalone there in the office or wherever you're at, but you don't actually need one with Rick's software and integrated with us. It makes it more efficient, and it can be less expensive if you're not doing a standalone or having that wireless or about that phone line. Let me talk real quick about security. I know we mentioned that, and I want to get into that gentleman's question that talked about security. But security is big. It's big for a customer. It should be big for a business owner, and I'll tell you, it's really big for a credit card processing company. I think Rick was talking about how he didn't want to be involved with that. He says, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to be involved. Well, we do, I guess. We take the burden. We want to reduce the burden off of you and putting the burden on us to make sure that security is number one for you as a business owner, and 2 for your customer. He talked about Home Depot, Target. Home Depot had a breach. There will be other breaches that occur because of security, and that is it's a big industry. If you can break into somebody's system, that's big business. Let me quickly tell you what the solution is to the security risk that we face now in the United States. On the back of your credit card is that mag stripe. That's how we all process our credit cards. In 2015, this year, by October, the United States has implemented, the credit card industry has implemented that we need to change our process and go to what they call a chip and pin. I'm going to talk about the chip. Every credit card that you'll start receiving this year will have a little chip on the front. It will still have the mag stripe on the back, but the information is on that chip, which is going to change a little bit how we process credit cards to make sure that we're secure from hackers and to avoid these security breaches. So you'll see from your bank, your credit unions, there will be new cards that will be issued in the next 9 to 10 months with this little chip on the front. Well, we talk a little bit about PCI Secure. We talk about security, and these chips are going to make it more secure for your merchants to use it. So keep that in mind the next few months, that OpenEdge is already one of the front runners in making sure this technology is in place, because everybody has to have it. There's no exceptions. You can't write hey, can I get 3 months extension? It has to be done. Europe's been doing it, and Canada has been doing it for years. The United States, why we're so behind, I don't know, but we have to catch up. So Security X-Charge is dedicated its resources to building a high-value service for our technology matrix so that it's different than anything else in the market that you're going to see. Let me tell you quickly about what our process here is in order to, some of you are saying, well, how do I look at OpenEdge? I've already got a credit card processor, or I use my bank. The value that we have is with Rick and his software. Rick software works good for your billing, for your how you monitor and run your business. OpenEdge, on the other hand, is going to come in and simplify the way that you keep track of the funds that runs through your business, so that you're able to keep track of those easier or do research. Let me tell you a little bit about our customer support, and then I'll go back to Rick and I'll open it up for questions. I don't want to take a lot of time, but if anybody's interested in knowing more about OpenEdge, you're saying, well, how do I know more about OpenEdge, and how do I look into this, because I like my processor already. Guys, I'll give you my email at the end of this, but you can reach out to our merchant services department, our customer support. We would like to compare with what you're doing right now to see if we can match or beat what you're doing. I believe that we can. We have we're a very big company. We're a very profitable company, but we're very good at what we do. We don't use a third party to do our job. We do it. So I can give phone numbers, Rick. Can I do that? Give phone numbers out? Sorry, I can't hear Rick.
I'm sorry, I had myself muted.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah, so everybody out there, if you can write this phone number down and then my email, and then let's open up for questions. But our customer care is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. We want to make sure that we can reach out to you as a merchant, as a customer. So our number is 800-338-6614. Let me give you my personal email. It's Darren, it's D-A-R-R-I-N, .brown @OpenEdgePay, OpenEdgePay.com. If there's questions that you have, send it to me. I'd like to talk with you if you have personal questions. We can answer questions now if you have them. I don't see the questions in my window there, so Rick, if you see them, if you want to, you can shout them out, and I'll be glad to address them if.
Yeah, if everybody can see that, I just answered a question from Brandon that basically says, have you published a list of fees for the merchant charges? And Darren, you can answer that question, but I've included the OpenEdge 800 number and the start now at OpenEdgePay.com address there with that. So if you will just cut and paste out of your chat, you'll be able to see that email address.
And let me answer that real quick. We have different divisions, different departments in here, and fees are going to depend on how big your organization is, your particular business. Is it a small business? Do you have 3 or 4 stores? How many different levels of, how many computers are you running this at, and do you have different locations? So some of those, it's not just a standard question that I can answer regarding fees, but we're more than happy to sit down with you on the phone, give you information about specifically what you're doing for your business, talk about what you have, what you're looking at doing, and then we can give you a better quote, if I could say, of what the cost would be to get you up and running. Do you need hardware? If you don't have the software, but we can address that as we go along with our customer support.
Okay, and I've included Darren's, he mentioned his email address. I've included that on that question as well. Darren, one other question Joshua asked, is there an option to set up automatic payments or recurring payments that happen each month?
We do. We actually have a feature at OpenEdge where we do recurring billing, and that's if you're in the medical field and you have, or even a chiropractic business or an orthodontist or anybody who takes a payment every month, a utility company, you're making a payment every month and it's the same amount. This recurring billing is a great feature to have because you just set it up automatically, and it does. It comes out at the same time every month. Okay.
Fantastic. And just to go over it again, Veronica's asking, the only, assuming you have point of sale, which most of my customers do, there are no fees to Team DME, so your support won't go up. There's no one-time charge. The only thing that you pay is the credit card fees. In other words, you run a $100 credit card, you don't get the whole $100. You get, minus 2 or 3%. So.
And that's one thing that makes it a little different. And if I can share a little bit more, in the credit card processing industry, you have a merchant like yourself who's running a credit card. You have a company like myself who's going to accept that credit card and process it. Now, there are other companies out there that might call you on the phone, you office managers, receptionists, business owners, and say, hey, I can do it for cheaper. Sometimes what they're referring to is if they are using a third party to process credit cards, they're using or they're renting excuse me, a gateway, which means it's access. It means they may not own it, they may not run it, but they're renting it so they can process credit cards. OpenEdge, we have our own gateway, which means we run it from the point of sale to the transaction. It doesn't go over to Rick and sit in his computer and then it comes over to us. It comes directly to us. Now, some other processing companies do that. They rent a gateway from somebody. They still process, but there's where that risk comes up of is hardware encrypted, and what's the security of that card going to different locations or different servers. And here it comes to one location. It's us. We don't have a third party or we don't rent a gateway. We own our gateway.
Okay, fantastic. I've got several people asking, how do I know if I have point of sale? If you will give us a call in technical support, we can look that up in your account very quickly. So just give us a holler and let us know. Okay, all right. I do have a couple of other polls here just to wrap up. Again, if you have any questions that we've not dealt with so far, we would be glad to answer them. But I lost my mouse. I have two other polls to ask here. And the question is, okay, you've seen how UPayBill works. You've seen, hopefully, how super simple it is, how easy it is. So the question is, if you were offered an easy way to pay online, or if you offered an easy way to pay online, how many customers would pay more quickly? Now, we asked already how many customers do you think would pay online, but the question here is, how many customers do you think might pay more quickly if, as soon as they got the statement in the mail, that they could, click it with their phone and pay right there on their phone, or perhaps, sit down at their computer and pay it there. So the question is, how many customers would pay more quickly than they currently pay you if you offered an easy way to pay online? All right, we've got 75% of the people voted. I'm going to give you another minute there. This is also your last chance to ask a question if you want to put it in the chat there. I think we've answered just about everybody's question. So hopefully everybody has enjoyed the webinar here. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. We got 90% of the people voted now. I'm going to close the webinar poll and then share that with everybody. And I'm surprised, but 30% of the people said 25% or more of their customers would pay more quickly if they were offered an online payment option. 40% said that at least 10% of their customers or more, so 10 to 25%, would pay more quickly if they were offered an online payment option. 18% said 5 to 10%, and 12% said just 1 to 5%. So I'm pretty encouraged by those numbers. If I can get people to pay more quickly, that is cash flow. That's cash in my pocket. So fantastic. All right, we're going to hide that poll, and we're going to go to the final one. And this one is a trick question, but if you want to get started, how do you do it? 1, contact OpenEdge to get a quote at 800-637, I can't, mine is a tiny little screen, so I'll let you read that. Or contact OpenEdge to get a quote. That's start now at openedge.com. Maybe OpenEdge. I think I just messed that up. It's actually openedgepay.com. Oops. Start now at openedgepay.com. So I put the poll in wrong. Sorry. Or wait for OpenEdge to call me. So people are voting there. Got 6% of the people. This is a multiple. Is it a multiple choice? No, I don't think it is. 67%. I'll give you just 30 more seconds there. And we'll close that final poll and share that with everybody. Okay, most everybody is correct. I guess you can answer multiple questions because 81% of the people said call them at 800 and the 800 number. 63% said you could call them, send them an email, and you can if you put in the correct email. I did not. So I'm going to say that one more time. That's start now at openedgepay.com. I left the pay off. 6% said wait for OpenEdge to call me. Well, sorry, but unless you request a call, we're not going to necessarily call you. That OpenEdge does. We do ask them to call our customers occasionally, but that's about once every 2 years or so. So not very often. But that's it. We don't have any more questions. Darren, do you have any parting thoughts to give our attendees?
I just encourage all of you, if you're using somebody else to process your credit cards right now, I think it'd be well worth your time to reach out to myself. Just send me some information, what you're looking at, and let's do a rate comparison or analysis for you, so at least you can see what you're being charged, what we would charge. You know what? And if you're happy with where you're at, that's great. We want to make it easy. We want to simplify the process for you. And again, with Rick's help and OpenEdge, I think that we could do some good and save you some time and money in what you're doing. But I appreciate your time today.
And I appreciate you guys following our webinar as well. We're going to try to start doing some more webinars, for people. And so hopefully this will just be the start of it. But I appreciate you for being here today. And I appreciate Darren for being here and representing OpenEdge and answering some of the questions that came up for us. And I hope that you have found the webinar valuable and your time spent valuable. I'm going to stop the